And slides, what's that? Oh, Dan, can you have a look? I see. And so we want to focus in this meeting on everything high angular resolution. So setting the sky as highest angular resolutions that we can do from visible light up to 1 millimeter. But at the same time, we also want to continue two important traditions, namely to have a VLTI community day and a Chara science meeting. Historically, the interaction between these communities has been for technical discussions at SPIE, for instance, or through individual collaborations. But when we started planning this meeting in 2019, we thought it would be a good idea to bring these two communities really together in one room and talk together about science and think about synergies to have this these amazing facilities that we have nowadays. And thankfully, we received also support from various organizations to do that. So there are some facility owners, Georgia State University, Chara, as well as ESO, that support us, also NORLab, and we're very happy to receive also financial support from the University of Exeter and from the Opticon RadioNet pilots that runs the VLTI expertise centers, as well as ESP starting grant. And of course, I'd like to thank you for your contributions and all the poster and talk abstracts that you submitted on the exciting science and dissemination work that you're doing. And as you can see, we will start basically today with introductory topics, also helping newcomers to the field to get started with interferometry. Then we cover over 3 days all the exciting science that is being done nowadays, from young stars over stellar astrophysics, exoplanets, galactic center, and AGN. And the last 1.5 days focus on technology and facilities with Chara and VLTI, but also other facilities covered as well. And in order to make this a good experience for everyone, we please ask you to wait until you receive a microphone if you are in the auditorium. And if you're online, to either raise your hand on Zoom, and then the session chair will ask you to speak directly and ask your question, or you can type your question in Slack, and the session chair will then read it out and have the speaker respond to it. No matter whether you're online or in person, please also join us on Slack. So there are announcements, for instance, that come up on Slack, as well as introductions, so you can find out who the people are that are at the meeting. There's a channel for jobs and a help desk, as well as the posters that are in a dedicated channel, and where you can also keep discussing the posters, including with presenters that are online. And we will have channels on the individual sessions where you can ask questions, and you're also welcome to coordinate your dinner plans with colleagues. There's a local evenings logistics channel for that if you want to have a for a restaurant together. I think we're all very glad that this kind of hybrid and in-person meetings are possible again. But of course, COVID is still very much with us. It's still the third highest cause of death in the world at the moment. And also for vaccinated people, it is associated with long with risks for long time health problems. And so we ask you to do everything to mitigate this risk by wearing a face covering when you're indoors, unless you're presenting. So I think up here is also safe, so you can talk this off face covering if you want, or sit together for if you sit together for lunch or dinner, or if you're at the same time, we also want to ask you please to just behave respectfully and professional at the meeting and to follow the code of conduct. For the in-person participants, we also have an exciting program of networking opportunities and excursions planned. So for instance, on Wednesday, there is a social excursion to Pebbleblade Vineyard, that is a bit east of Exeter, where you get a walking tour of the vineyard and also taste the wine. Or you might have been assigned to the Dartmoor trip. That is a coach tour visiting the one of the largest national parks here in the UK, with massive granite rock formations that are 300 million years old from the end of the Devonian period, and so you will walk there for about 3 hours and explore that area. On Tuesday, we have a public talk where you're very invited to join, and to make it easy, also so you don't have to head to town to get a dinner and then come back to campus. We also provide catering on that day with warm food, including pizza, antipasti, drinks at the top of the physics building. So that's the highest point in Exeter, essentially. So it's a nice view over the city, and so you can just walk there from the forum, which is where you're right now here, and it's just like a five-minute walk up to the physics building to Justice Catering, and then to the forum for Fundraising was public talk. On Thursday, we'll also have a conference dinner with a reception beforehand at Reed Hall. That's the oldest building here on campus, and this includes a prosecco welcome and some was on meal afterwards. Yeah. I think something changed.
Yeah, there's a complication. Your audio is coming through this computer currently. When I try to, so can you just stand in front of this computer for now?
And so there's also a map included in your booklet where you find different options for lunch. So, for instance, here in the forum, there's some options to buy food from this marketplace or from Pret a Manger. So it's just here outside of the entrance doors. You can head for a burrito or wrap here just around the corner in Comida. And if you look for more broader food options, there is a Northcote Theatre Cafe up here, just up Stocker Road, or La Touche Cafe. It's also a very good option with pizza and many other options. The booklet also includes a map for downtown dinner options. So some of you know already the Mill on the Exe, for instance, from our gathering yesterday. Yeah. depending on your dietary requirements, there's also like vegetarian or vegan options. And I can also really recommend visiting the quayside, which is a very picturesque area on the river with many different restaurants. And you just cross here High Street, South Street, and then this bridge to get to the river and the quayside. Yeah, if you have any questions or any concerns or any feedback, just fetch one of these people here from the LSC. So we're happy to help at any time. And I also thank the SOC for the help with assembling this program. So the LSC, they're sitting here in the front row beside others, including Izzy, Aaron, Dan, and Zeb, and myself and Emma, who you likely met at the reception desk. So are there any questions on this kind of logistical aspects? Was there a question on right?
No, I think so.
Yeah, as the SOC and LOC also decided to dedicate this meeting to a colleague, Matt Wilson, who passed away. So on January 18th, we received the news that Matt died from a stray gunshot wound in an apartment where he was staying in Atlanta at the time. And yeah, Matt had just arrived from the UK to visit his long-term girlfriend, Catherine Shepard, who was with him at the time of the shooting. And his sudden passing has clearly devastated friends and colleagues everywhere. So he was a very valued colleague and dear friend. And therefore the LOC and SOC decided to dedicate this meeting to his scientific life and achievements. And here in Exeter, I had the pleasure to work with Matt. In fact, he was the first PhD student who joined me when I arrived here in Exeter. And I think joining a newly appointed, very junior faculty member who is still green behind the ears is a courageous thing to do itself. But if the lecturers and even works on complicated and crazy techniques such as optical interferometry, I think it's even more so. And so I very much value the trust that Matt placed in me at the time. And I could not have wished for a kinder and smarter and more dedicated PhD student. And so the former supervisors of Matt, including Doug Pease, Stuart Bugert, Stuart Jeffries, and Olivier Absil. We wrote an obituary in the Astronomical and Astrophysical Journal of the Royal Astronomical Society. And yeah, based on the memories that were collected there, I just wanted to retrace the steps of Matt's career briefly. So Matt began his formal life in astrophysics as a student at Royal Holloway at the University of London. That was basically just down the road from where his childhood home was. There he worked with Stuart Bugert on the design, construction, and calibration of a spectrograph for use with the university's 30-centimeter telescope. He wrestled equipment into operation for programs of photometry and spectroscopy and led students observing sessions on many cold evenings. After graduating with a master's, Matthew continued working on upgrading the teaching telescope here in this picture, and maintained also strong ties with the department afterwards. Here at Exeter, Matt embarked on high angular resolution studies for imaging planet formation in protoplanetary disks. In particular, he used sparse aperture masking to search for the emission of these planets directly. And this work doubles the number of companion candidates in such transitional disks at the time. And he also loved observing at BLTI and Keck and made new friends there, as shown here, for instance, during a Keck observing run with John Monnier. And yeah, he was a great person to be around with here for coffee time, trips for the pub, or yeah, sport activities yeah, in the area, including his exploits for the department's football team in Exeter. At GSU, Matt joins a remote sensing group for space sciences led by Stuart Jeffries, and he developed techniques using wavefront sensor data to reconstruct images by accounting for turbulence at multiple levels in the atmosphere, and showed how this can restore images over a wider field of view than the single isoplanetic patch. And Matt's work there provided also foundation for a big new project on hyperspectral imaging and high-speed imaging that just received funding from the Air Force. His next career step was to join the group led by Olivier Absil at Liège. There, Matt took up the challenge of adapting state-of-the-art wavefront sensing techniques, known as PSI, to the context of the METIS instrument. And he found that PSI could be used to reduce the harmful effect of instrumental operation and water vapor turbulence on the performance of exoplanet imaging with METIS, which is a key towards direct detection of Earth-like exoplanets in the mid-infrared. Colleagues at Liège will remember him for his pretty stiff upper lip, sense of humor, and passion for football. And so yeah, we will all deeply miss him, including his family and friends and colleagues and students.